Welcome to the channel. So I'm actually at the local junkyard in my area, just looking at different potential projects, and pretty sure I won't find anything here. But how crazy is this place? This is the truck section, and it's just like a graveyard of vehicles. I used to come here when I was a kid, when I was like 18, 19 years old. I used to drive a 1992 Chrysler LeBaron, and I used to come here. I used to skip school and come here and get parts for my car. I used to get hub bearings, control arms. I actually got an entire K frame. There was a K car. The 92 LeBaron was one of the K cars that Lee Iacocca had something to do with, where every car was universal. They all had the same underpinnings, the same frame, and you could take the frame off of like any Dodge car, any Chrysler car. The cradle that carried the engine, you could take it off and put it on any other car. The one on mine was all bent out of shape from some kind of accident or something, so it needed a new frame underneath. And I came in here and removed a frame and put it in my vehicle to make it drive straight again, because the wheels weren't in the right spot. The front tires weren't located in the right spot, so I had to come to Parts Galore and pick up a whole new frame. It was crazy, the stuff I used to do when I was a kid. Jeez. But every vehicle here has just been totally ran down. Like, geez, there's hardly any useful things here. I mean, what? Jesus. I used to skip school, come and get parts. One time I skipped class in the middle of a snowstorm, and came here to pick out parts for my Chrysler. I was getting hub bearings, and I saw a kid that I went to high school with. He was just skipping class, and he wanted to hang out. He had nothing to do, so we came up here and looked for hub bearings, and it was freezing cold, snow falling everywhere, and I was just trying to get these spindles off, these hubs off, and you know, these right here, these bolts. I was trying to get the whole hub, spindle, everything. But buying these old parts, you never know which one is gonna work. You can't really expect a junkyard hub to work. You might have to get a couple of them, try them out. Hopefully you'll find one that's good, because I didn't have enough money to buy a brand new one. So I was coming in here, and a lot of times you can tell they're bad right before you pull them. But I came in here with that guy, and we pulled hubs. He was like, "Why don't you just give up? This is crazy." I'm just like different. I don't know. He was freezing cold, and I was just didn't care. He was just shivering off to the side. He was thinking, what did he get himself into? But that guy ended up dying a few years ago, drug overdose. Pretty crazy. Oh, there's a nice car, nice Ford. Decent parts if you needed some glass or something like that. Looks like it got hit. I wouldn't be surprised if the engine was still good. Took a pretty hard hit here. Jesus. Hopefully nobody was sitting there. But a lot of parts on this vehicle would still be pretty good. If you needed a radio or whatever. Interesting. Ford cars. Wow. Anything cool? Anything cool? Hopefully there's not more Ford cars here than any other car. Oh yeah, I used to do crazy junkyard hauls. And it's crazy to think that if I would have been doing YouTube back then, it'd be a different story. You know, all the stuff I was doing was so interesting, I guess. You know, pulling parts at the junkyard, just grinding like crazy. But you know, now everything's brand new. I don't have to come here and remove any parts. I actually don't even belong here. Just messing around, I guess, today. Most people here need to be here getting parts, and here I am just hanging out. The crushed limestone pile right there. Let's see what we got over here. Who makes better cars, Chevy or Ford? Some leather interior. If you see any parts you need, let me know. Maybe I can come up here and pull them for you. Maybe that'll be my new job, the parts puller. There's the Chevy GM car area. Oh my goodness, what kind of motor is this? 4-cylinder? Used to have to pick up a wheelbarrow and roll all my tools all the way back here because my cars were all the way in the back. I didn't have a Ford, or eventually I had a GM car, but I started with a foreign car, Infiniti, and a Chrysler. I think Infiniti and Chryslers are all the way in the back. Let's see here. Anytime you see an airbag going off, maybe the engine is still good. It's possible. When I was picking parts, I always kind of assumed that the engines in these places were all bad. All the engines were bad. But I don't know if that's the case. I mean, some of these motors might still run, might still be good, might still have life in them. Guess you could maybe bring a battery back here. I don't know if they'll let you do that, but if you could bring a battery back here and a compression gauge, you could probably get an idea of a motor. You know, you find in cars that have been hit, maybe it's possible to find a good engine. But man, all these vehicles are so beat. Actually, did something crazy the other day. I went and purchased a 1999 Tahoe up north. Drove about an hour and a half up north. Picked up this old messed up car, and then got home and realized how huge of a mistake I made, and had to take the vehicle and post it on Facebook Marketplace and get rid of it. I lost a couple $100, but man, did I make a mistake. I bought that 99 Tahoe, brought it all the way home, chugged all the way home, got home and realized that it needed like an entire overhaul of the braking system. Whoa, look at this Camaro. This is I had a Camaro. I had a 99. Got the 3800 V6. Had a 99 Camaro. I actually put the engine from a front-wheel drive car into the rear-wheel drive Camaro. That was my little hustle back in the day. Putting engines in. Pretty crazy stuff. Used to sling engines just on the side before I started cutting grass. What the? Still Ford cars. Ford and GM. Remember, looking for your car, you have to walk up the aisle and try to look down the whole aisle. Seems smaller than I remember. Just remember the rows seemed like they were longer back then. But just trying to spot your car any way possible. Alright, getting close to the imports and to the Chryslers. I haven't seen anything interesting here yet. What if I listed the parts for sale? And once they sold, pulled them and stripped them. This is interesting. Pretty clean interior. Foreign cars use a different kind of leather. That still has a new leather smell to it. Old Jaguar. Some Mercedes. Civic. I don't even think you'd find the kind of car I used to drive here anymore. It's been so long. They're about gone. I had a 92 Infiniti. Used to come and pull parts for. But they were so rare. There would only be like one here, one or two at a time here. Pretty crazy. Let's see here. I wonder if I'll find that Chrysler that I had. Chrysler LeBaron. At the time, when I used to come here, the Chryslers were on the right and the imports were on the left. Weird. We switched it up on them. Look at this old K car right here. 4-cylinder. Someone's cutting something up over there. You know, nowadays battery tools are so much better. At the time when I was coming here a lot, maybe 10 years ago or so, battery tools, everything was hand powered. If you didn't plug it into a wall or plug it into an air compressor, you were looking at hand tools. And now you can come in here with a full battery powered impacts, battery powered ratchets, you know, battery powered everything, and have a full mobile shop. First car I had was similar to this. It wasn't this, it was a Chrysler LeBaron, but like I said, it was a K car, which is very much the same underbelly as one of these. At that time, they made everything the same underneath, from minivans to small cars. Actually, here's one right here. Convertible Chrysler LeBaron. I had the red interior. This one's got the red instrument panel and white leather. I actually came in here and pulled the convertible top off of a car, like the canvas, and just like undid everything and put it in my car and took it home and put it in my car. It's crazy. I actually took the K member off. It's actually the frame that is holding the control arms on. It's bolted to this car. I removed that and brought it home, put it in my car. It was crazy. So much work just to get your car running. Like, it would have been easier just to buy another car. The old 3-liter V6, the old 3-liter Mitsubishi built Chrysler V6 engine. First car for me. Aluminum plenum is what they call this thing, and pretty strong engine. Burned some oil though. I think mine was overheated. Compromised piston rings a little bit. Pretty crazy. Wow. now everything that I drive is brand new. I mean, kind of a learning lesson though. It's like I bought that old Tahoe and ended up being a dud, a bad move, an impulse decision. Lost a little bit of money, nothing crazy, a couple $100, but just getting that vehicle home, trying to be cheap and buy this cheap vehicle, I realized it's more money to buy an old vehicle. I mean, even if you were just to spend a little more and get something that's ready to run, ready to go, even something that's old that maybe cost $6,000 is better than some old $2,500 piece of crap. I'm trying to get away with driving a $2,500 piece of junk vehicle, and it ended up costing me dearly. It would have cost me dearly. That's why I ended up deciding to hurry up and sell the car, because it would have cost me a lot of money to just well, look at this. It would have cost me a lot of money just to get the thing working properly, and it just wouldn't be worth it. The time, the energy, it wouldn't be worth it. So gave up on that, listed it for sale, and got out of it. This is the end of the line for the cars. After all is said and done, it's time for the end. They all end up here in the pile, going to the recycle machine. Pretty crazy, but it's crazy that it only costs $1 to get in there. It's almost like a deterrent, just if you want to just come here to hang out. But the price has always been $1. It's never gone up or anything. I used to have to come all the way back here for the foreign parts, and the Infinities was just, I had a 92 Infinity. They were just so hard to find, and they were all the way back here, and carrying that heavy toolbox. Whew, it was pretty wild. I highly doubt I'll see anything like what I used to drive here anymore. What kind of BMW is this? Wow. Pretty crazy. Got your Hondas. I actually had a friend of mine who had a Honda Civic, and actually his Honda Civic was just like this one, and he drove it till the wheels fell off of it. I mean, he put 250,000 miles on it, no 4-cylinder like this, and eventually his exhaust valve burned up on one of his cylinders, and he lost compression, but it just ran on 3 cylinders, and he just kept going and going and going and going. He finally decided to repair the engine and put a new head on it, new cylinder head, and he wanted me to put it on for him. But I was a young mechanic. I was probably like 18 at the time, whatever, and I accepted the job, whatever. I did the work, charged like $250, whatever. I didn't really know how to charge, and well, what ended up happening is I took everything apart, put it all back together, great, new head, all that, and I go to start the car and it won't start. But after I got everything together, I went to top off all the fluids, but the guy's dad came out and told me, don't add the coolant to the car yet, because he doesn't want me to waste the coolant if I have to take everything apart again if I miss something. And I'm like, well, I'd rather just put the coolant in now so I don't forget. but he insisted that I waited to put the coolant in the car, the antifreeze. So I go to start the car and it won't start. The car won't start. I checked compression. I'm checking everything. I took it apart. His dad made me redo the timing a few times. I redid the timing over and over. It was only one cam. It was only one cam at the time, and the cam and the sprocket on the bottom of the crankshaft. So I couldn't figure out why. What ended up happening is I had the spark plug wires wrong the whole time, and that's why it wouldn't start. So a couple days that went by of me messing around with it, and I finally was reading the manual and realized that the image was upside down. I was looking at it the wrong way, and I finally switched the plugs back and got it to start, and it ran so good. Finally, it runs good. The timing's perfect. It's idling good, purring good. Just finally, it's running. I'm just listening to it run, poking around, listening to it run, whatever. I go inside the car and look inside at the gauge, and the engine heat is through the roof. It's so hot. The engine's so hot. It's totally smoked, overheated. But there's no coolant in the motor, so you can't tell that the engine's overheated. So it pretty much just burnt up the motor, because usually when your engine overheats, it starts smoking and all that. There wasn't even any coolant to smoke, so this engine was just glowing red hot. So I turned off the engine and was like, oh my goodness, what did I just do? The engine cooled off and everything. I put the coolant in it and everything. That engine burned so much oil for the next 10,000 miles. And there was nothing we can do. He got another head. He put it on there. It burned so much oil that the valves were just fouling out. The plugs were fouling out. Then we took the head off. You can tell that the pistons had just been burnt up. The pistons were pretty much loose in their cylinders. They had so much wear. And we put another head on it and everything. And it was just ruined. That engine was just ruined. He ended up just driving it for a few more months, and then he gave it to his sister. His sister drove it for a while, like a year or so, and then they finally might have just scrapped it after that. But man, that was just the most silly thing ever. I mean, geez, that car would probably still be on the road today if we would have put the coolant in it instead of worrying about wasting coolant. I didn't remember that we didn't put the coolant in it. How would I? It's been a few days. This engine looks pretty high tech. Man, just walking through here, Japanese vehicles had way better drivetrains than American vehicles had back in the day. Volkswagen Beetle. It's crazy to think the Volkswagen Beetle was the most popular car at one time. If you drove a Honda Civic, it would be a good car to find parts for. Toyota Camry. So Honda Civics really must stay on the road a lot longer than some of these other brands out here. Here's another Civic. Somebody got mad and threw a tire at the windshield. Pretty crazy. Nothing valuable. What if we just came in here and picked up a old beat up car and brought it back to its original state? That'd be crazy. It'd be so much work. Man, it's not even worth searching through here. You could just go online nowadays and order what you need. Why even go through the search? That's what you need, is just a totally rare item. Or maybe you just want to find a nice leather seat. Passenger seat on this car is like new. The other side, it's all jacked, but the small parts would still be good to find in a place like this. But what a brutal life. I mean, coming in here, laying in a puddle of water, just taking off parts. Guess you gotta do what you gotta do. You're kind of risking your life. Sometimes cars fall off, which would be unfortunate. Looks like I'm in GM now. It's a 3800 V6 right here. I've owned a 3800 V6. Quite a few. Chevy Camaro, Pontiac Grand Prix. Pretty good, reliable engine. I wonder if this engine runs. Probably not, right? If it's here, it's not hit. The car's not total. So the engine must have went. Pretty crazy. Well, anyway, guys, that's it for the junkyard video of the day. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.